You losing points on the AP free response questions just because of the wording? Do you want to make sure that you maximize the number of points that you get? In this video, I'll break down the most common task verbs, what they mean, and how to answer them correctly so that you don't leave any points on the table. Before we get into the task verbs, I want to share with you why the task verbs matter. These task verbs are going to tell you exactly what kind of response is required, and misinterpreting them can lead to loss of points. Also, knowing them is going to save you time, make your answers stronger, and help you be more efficient and effective in answering those free response questions. Now, I have a question here that has just a couple task verbs highlighted: calculate and interpret. And this is just to show you how these show up so often in the free response section. Now, here's an actual excerpt from the AP Statistics course and exam description. You can see all the task verbs listed here and what they mean and what you are expected to do with each of them. This is freely available on the AP website. I'm going to break each one down for you and give you some examples. Now, as you can see, a quick glance at this slide shows that most of these examples I have here came from the 2024 exam. And I've provided examples of some of the task verbs. So let's go over these one by one. The first one, calculate. This is just perform the mathematical steps to find a final answer with proper notation. You can see here, calculate the mean of the distribution. There it is, right. The next task verb we have is compare. This means explain the similarities and or differences between two distributions, methods, or models. Oftentimes you'll see compare distributions of or compare the variability of. In this example here, determine and compare the medians. The next task verbs are construct and complete. This means represent data in a graph, a table, or some kind of numerical summary. You'll often see prompts such as complete the table, construct a probability distribution. Here, complete the segmented bar graphs, Then last in the first column, we have describe. And this is where you're going to explain characteristics of a data set, a distribution, or some kind of statistical method. Oftentimes you'll see describe the shape, center, and spread of the distribution, or describe how the sampling method affects bias. Here we have describe an appropriate method James could use to randomly assign two treatments. Any of these are valid, and this is exactly what you need to do when you're asked to describe. The next one we're going to look at is determine, and this is where you're going to use calculations or statistical reasoning to find values or support a conclusion. Oftentimes you'll see things worded like determine whether there is convincing evidence or determine if the conditions for inference are met. In this example here was a full 4-step process inference problem. And it asks you right in the beginning, does the data provide convincing statistical evidence? And then even at the end, they tell you complete the appropriate inference procedure. Estimate, that means you're going to use models or representations to approximate a value. Often you'll see estimate the probability or estimate the population proportion. Moving on to explain, this means provide reasoning and evidence for why a statistical outcome occurs. You'll see prompts such as explain why the sample mean is an unbiased estimator, or explain why a larger sample is beneficial. In this example here, it says explain your response. Now, for give a point estimate or interval estimate, you're going to use models or representations to find approximate values for uncertain figures. The next one is give an example, and this is where you're going to provide a specific example that meets the given criteria in the problem. If you're asked to identify, indicate, or circle, this is simply stating an answer without explanation. For example, it says identify the appropriate inference procedure for Julio to use. You just state the answer without explanation. If you're asked to interpret, this is where you're going to relate statistical results to the real world context. The example here, interpret the mean of the distribution of the number of geodes. You might see something like interpret the correlation coefficient in context. If you're asked to justify, this is where you're going to provide reasoning or statistical evidence to support a claim. The example here just says justify your answer. Another example, you might see something that says, justify whether the sample provides convincing evidence. If you're asked to verify something, this means you're going to confirm that the assumptions or conditions are met. You might see something like, verify whether the normal approximation is appropriate. So there you have the list of task verbs. Now I want to give you a couple more key takeaways and tips. Make sure you read the task verb carefully. Don't assume what the question wants. Use proper statistical notation and explanations. Also, justify when needed. Don't just state the answer. Also, if it's an inference-based question, make sure you check the conditions. Now you're ready to answer the AP Stats free response questions with confidence. If this helped, hit that like button and subscribe for more AP Stats tips, and good luck on the test.